I'm JD with the Nerdery, and I'm here with Jon Hughes, the legend Jon Hughes. Well, you are in Houston anyway. Really, really awesome stuff. I've read a lot of your books, and you know, your whole brand has this concept that you don't see much in comic books, and that is the concept of time. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. We've kind of evolved the way that we discuss that with people. Also, we find that a lot of people like the idea of continuity with characters with Overground Comics, but what we're trying to do now is focus on the fact that all of our stories have a finality to it. When we first started talking to people, we pledged that we were going to actually pass time in our books, which is what you're talking about, where characters actually get older and change and grow from experiences. And I think people like that idea. And the thing that I think was missing when we first started doing this pitch and we first started talking to people was that we're not going to carry things on forever. And that's, I think, the thing that was missing before. It's like when you read a comic book, a lot of times you're picking up a #1 issue and you don't know how far the story's going to go. And a lot of times with comics, it ends up being something where you kind of either wear out on the book or you have it canceled because it's not selling enough. And so with Overground, everything we do is a mini-series. So it's like our new book, America, is a 4-issue. Plus Ultra is an 8-issue. Like, everything has an end to it because the most important part of a story is a resolution. And tying back into what you were asking about, we will keep doing that, where let's say you meet a character like our character Amy from Tinker. When you meet her, she's 17 years old. We'll have a little 4-issue series with her. You'll see her pop up every now and then, and if we bring her back in a couple of years, she is a couple of years older. So people actually get to see these characters grow up, which is something that's what you're referring to that you don't see in comics. Mainstream characters have this moment of frozen time that they exist in forever, and it makes them different than us, and we don't want that with Overground. We want to see the progression of a human being, which is the most fascinating thing about people.
Now we have read Plus Ultra, The Graduate, Absent Captain, and now you're here talking about America. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you want to read those reviews, they're actually up on our website. But America, tell me what's going on here.
America is our biggest project we've done so far. We haven't really done a lot of big name people with our books yet, but with America we wanted to do something special because it's a project I really believe in. Our book Graduate, we introduced the character America, and we introduced her as a character who was at one point invincible, and you actually watch this moment where she loses her powers and becomes a normal human being again. And then we kind of split her off into her own series. It's a 4-issue one that just started this month, so it's going to go through the summer. And she's this crime fighter who, within the Overground universe, she's the most popular character in the country, the most popular hero in the country. So not like in real life, but in Overground, she's like, everybody knows who she is. And when she loses her powers, instead of retiring, instead of kind of taking it easy, she ends up kind of jumping headfirst back into it. And the reason that happens is the reason a lot of us can't accept change in our lives. At one point, you get to this point in your life where you take like this mental snapshot of who you've always wanted to be. And the moment you get there, you can never accept being anything less than that again, or you kind of hate yourself. When you get that, the body you want, once you get fat, you hate yourself. When you get it to amount of success, making a certain amount of money, if you lose your job, you hate yourself. Like, we have such a hard time being patient with ourselves as people and accepting the change in our lives. And I wanted to tell a story about that would be colorful, that people would enjoy reading, that then they would kind of feel that connection to that situation, because I think we've all had it before.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
so she, instead of being able to count on that invulnerability, she has to count on the other things about herself, which she doesn't understand yet are just as valuable. Of course, being invincible, she jump in front of a train, whatever, fall out of an airplane, but that's not what makes her important. You can find other ways to contribute. And so that's what the story's about. And it's a 4-issue series. She becomes like this adrenaline junkie who likes the sensation of feeling alive again. And the thing about that is, that's the irony of this story, is that when she feels that again for the first time, we show it as the reason she's making bad choices. But what's ironic is, when we experience change in our lives that's scary, that makes us uncomfortable, we feel alive again in a very fearful manner, but we don't realize that can add a lot of positive change in our life. So it's a complex story, but we got Jason Pearson to draw it. Jason Pearson. A lot of comic book fans are going to know him. He was real big in the late 90s, early 2000s. Did a great series called Body Bags that may come back soon. He drew the Deadpool miniseries that the movie is based on.
Yes.
So he's a big deal in comics, and we're so happy that he decided to do a couple of books for us.
That's incredible. Now, all the books are actually written by you, isn't that correct?
Almost everything we publish is by me. Everything that's in the Overground continuity is written by me. But we're now actually branching out, which is actually a fun thing to talk about. We have a new line called our Spotlight line, where people will see that on the bottom of our books we have this stripe right here that's normally left dark blue. For the Spotlight books, you'll see a little watermark there that says Spotlight, and that lets you know that this is a book that we endorse and that we like, but that we didn't actually produce ourselves. The first one that we did, I'll right back in real fast. Or did I go too fast? A book called Oh Hell. We met this guy, George Wassel, at a show in Dallas, and I heard him. He was sitting across from me, so I'm pitching my comics, he's pitching his, and the show got a little slow. So at one point, I'm just sitting there kind of eavesdropping to George, and it sounded like me. It sounded like what I talk to people about. It was a real personal story, and it's a beautiful book with great artwork.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a really compelling lead character named Zoelle, who's a young woman, and one of the things we wanted to do with Overground is add to an underserved market, which is young women. Young women, now that Marvel and DC are trying hard to put out more books for them, but it's still such a small percentage of what they do. And with Overground, more than half of our lead characters are women, are people that an underserved market can relate to. And so that's a little bit of a different thing. So I do write most, and we're adding just a little bit of other content because, number one, I don't want people to get bored of me. And then two, we want to use this opportunity that we've had to explore new ideas out there from other creators like ourselves that had a hard time breaking into this business. And now that we're in, we want to bring the people with us that really belong there. And that was the first one. So it takes a little pressure off me, and it allows me to introduce new concepts to people that I couldn't come up with myself.
Awesome. Do you have kind of an open line to do that? Or?
A little bit. We have to, we publish books that we publish. Like, we can't just take anything to our distributor and say, hey, we're doing this. But if it's something that we believe in enough to put our name on it, that works for us. Like, if it was something that just didn't fit for what we did, I wouldn't be able to do it because it wouldn't make sense for our distributor to put it out, because they would probably be concerned. Like, we put out this gory horror book, they would probably not expect our fans to buy it because we don't do that kind of stuff. So even if something I think is good, it kind of has to fit a little bit in our mold for us to publish it so that we can, justify having it be part of our line.
Awesome. Well, we ask everybody this question. I'm going to ask you.
All right. What
is your definition of a nerd?
Oh, man. You know what's funny? Man, you just opened up like this can of worms with me that I could go on for the longest podcast in history. But I'm going to try to simplify this a little bit. I really dislike people labeling themselves. And I know it's a part of this culture. People like, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, I'm this. And they take pride in being that. But this won't be the most popular answer you've ever heard. All I want from everybody is to call themselves by their name. I want you to be Jimmy. I want you to be Chris. I want you to be JD. And that's what I want you to identify yourself as. I'm the one and only me, and I don't have to be a certain person to be a part of this culture. I'm a part of this culture because I'm open to new ideas, and I enjoy, reading the books I read, watching the shows I watch. But when you niche yourself into something like that, you can close yourself off from other people. And I want to sit here and be okay if like a jock walks up and wants to look at my books, if a bro walks up and wants to look at my books, if a nerd walks up. Like, I want everybody to feel welcome to be a part of what we're doing. That's why we're called Overground Comics. We're not underground. We don't want to be that niche little market for little, we're too cool for everybody else to know us. We want everybody to hear these stories because I write these because I want people to read these books, and when they're done, I want them to know themselves a little better. And if they're telling me who they are before they start reading it, they're not going to listen. And so what I wish is that people would just give up the nerd thing and give up the geek thing, and I know people are going to hate me for that, but your name is the greatest thing anybody could ever call you because it is your place in this world, that means so much more than you give yourself credit for when you try to add one more word to it. So I just want everybody to be who they are.
Okay, so to try to put a finer point on it, correct me if I'm wrong here, but your definition of a nerd is there's no such thing.
I wish there wasn't, man. Yeah, like to me, the nerd is a label that people give themselves when they don't value their own name enough. How about that?
Well, thank you so much for your time.
No problem,
we're gonna get back with you on more of this.
I hope so, man.
And man, stay watching, man. More reviews coming on his books. Love them.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.